And I will explain to you where we are, especially for the people who are here for the first time, maybe. That's the latest and greatest in AI. It started about 3 years ago. We're coming to our podcast number 100, suggestions for celebration. And here I say that's what we've done. Here means this is the link. So I'm giving you that link in the chat. Hey, hello, John. So that's the link. Lee raised his hand or her hand. I'm sorry. And I don't know what I need to do. So maybe you type that in the window. And if you need the mic enabled, then I can do it for everyone who wants it. But the style today is that there are too many robots around. So what I do is just share what I work on. It's mostly really working on the code and other real things. So I share the news that I find interesting as a developer. And I also share my own personal news, meaning work-related news. And that's what it is. So I just had a nice conversation with an assistant, and she said that, do you still code? And well, if you don't mind, guys and girls, do you still? And the reason I said this is because that's a touchy point. So some people wanted to become project managers all of their life. And my personal opinion, I have to say my personal opinion, it's like dying. If you don't code, then sorry to say you're not alive. And well, all the apologies, but I have a Andrew A on my side who says today with AI, there is no reason not to code, but there are all the reasons, yes. And the same as Jeff Dean, anything that's going on, download and try. So in any case, that was the question she asked, and that's what I share. Show what I do, and show the news that are interesting to a person who does code. So here we are. Now, I will start with this. I will start with my conversation with the Model 3.0 that was released 2 days ago, I think, because it's something that is too exciting. I just cannot talk about other things if I don't share that with you. So let's go. Let's go to chat. And let's go to my work account. Yes, I'm there. And I'm working on an extremely complicated project together with that. But what I wanted to show is that the models are right here. And this is O3, uses advanced reasoning. So it is announced as something that will think deeply. And that means like 5 minutes before it comes up with an answer. Well, I'm working on a very complicated project right here. I will even show you the project. Okay, I need to decode this kind of document. And that document is already processed a little bit before. It was, you select one thing and other things also get selected. Well, now it's a little bit better. It's a few transformations that it went through. But another complication here is that court and CD initial and CT date, they're all in one column. So that's the column. Just crazy, right? And they did it to save paper. I believe it was that long ago, the paper method. So here you have 3 entries, no, 2 entries. So that means defendant's name is this, and defendant address is this, And I challenge everybody to extract all the fields. All right, so what I did yesterday and what I will show you here is start a conversation and gave it the whole model and said, we know you're smart, just extract, please, the results. Here is the conversation. Now, I ran into some limitations, so it didn't really allow me to save it as a link, but that's okay. You can see. Okay, so I give it the document, it thought for 5 seconds and realized, yes, I can read the document, and it even ventured or volunteered some details to show that, yes, I understand what we're talking about. All right, then I said, here are the columns that I need. You see why it is so complex. It is because I need just these columns, and the original document has the sex, the date of birth, but potentially combined with other fields in one column to save paper. All right, it started working. It thought for 5 minutes and 26 seconds. But one thing that I am not showing to you right now, and by the way, the documents, I'm not showing you complete documents because these are public documents. So it showed me, now get ready for that. It showed me complete thinking. It was thinking for 5 minutes, but it was saying, oh, I see this is the column. Therefore, I will use this Python package to extract this. Then it would say, no, it doesn't work. Okay, so I am changing, and it kept working. So me and my programmer were working at it together, looking at it together, and it was amazing because if you understand the code, and that's where we're coming back to, it helps to understand the code. It's a movie in front of your eyes, how it is thinking and what code it tried. In the end, it got most of it correct. But you see, the problem is that most doesn't count. So it gave me the clean table, and it said, go ahead, look at what my great job. Yeah, I looked at this great job. It's somewhere in the middle of the table that it gets confused. And it says, now go and download, it will be a file. And I said, you got it right. It's basically correct. Here's one advice. It's amazing, but it seems like being polite to AI helps. Now, don't think it is a superstition. I think it's that if you're polite, you also are saying things clearly. And I think that's the major advice. You'll be amazed. But being very clear is about what you are saying is what ChatGPT and AI is teaching us all together. So I just saw a post, my wife sent it to me. It's a Russian researcher. He speaks in Russian. I don't think he's in Russia itself, but he gets many things about artificial intelligence right. And one of the things that he suggests is that you teach it, it teaches you how to become a better human, maybe. It at least teaches you how to be polite and express your idea very clearly. Well, that's, I think, a definition of a good first step to become a better human. So, okay, why notice that? And I start correcting. I'm saying, you didn't get one thing right. You didn't get test results. Instead, you should get it from this column. It thought a little, it started correcting, it more or less got it right, but I said, you didn't do one thing right. And at this point, that answer is not recorded here. At this point, it said, you are violating one of the rules of use AI. And I asked, which rule? Well, it said, I am not telling you which rule, but here are the rules. And part of it, of course, is PII, personally identifiable information. Of course, yes, that is there. If you have access to API, for example, I'm using this ChatGPT within the Microsoft setup, within Azure. There you can turn off the filters. You can tell it, don't stop, don't hesitate, extract all that you need, because that's just a filter that you can extract. This is a public version. So, okay, so you understand, it's a way. And then I realized something else, and that's what I'm bringing to you. I realized that it gets confused if the task is very long. It cannot hold all of that in its mind. And it's not a memory limitation. We know that there are ways to give it more memory. That memory is given in a virtual sense. It's a database outside, but detects as memory. So that is not the problem. The problem is that, and that's where humans are better and maybe will be, is that bird's eye view. It doesn't have it. Or, however, and this is the new thought that I'm bringing to you today, you can work with it. Well, that's what I just started. I'll show you what I just started. I said, okay, I will give you my document and give it a name, because I'll be working on it for a long time. And well, at first volunteers are extra information, but I'm saying we'll be working on extraction. We'll be working together one field at a time. So here's what you need to do. Get this. You see, the court, city initial, and city date are all in one column. So I'm telling you, that's how it is. You're not used to such things. Paper is not important to you, but it is important to the people who produce that paper. So I'm saying extract just one value out of that. It says, yeah, I get it. I understand. That's the plan. Here is the code. Well, I'm so excited that I didn't complete it as yet, but I'm showing you exactly where I am right now. Okay, this is the code. I'll put in my repo. I'll work on it. If I have mistakes, I'll tell it, hey, you made a mistake. And it is very polite. It knows, oh, sorry, I made a mistake, but here's a new version, and so on. That is number one. The results, the advice. So if we go back here and close that, then that was my conversation, which encouraged me to try something else, try to work with AI together, try to teach it what it's missing. In the meanwhile, it will teach me what it is doing well. Next time, I'll tell you how did it go. So usually what I do is this. I make a copy of that, and it's all spontaneous here, and that will be April 25, and that is not important. That doesn't have to be repeated. That doesn't, but that's what it will be. Next time I'll show you how did it really go. That's the next one, but this one, I think I covered this enough. You can play with 3.0 because it will show you the train of thought. That's very useful. Another thing, another items that I saw, an interesting thing is Andrew A. He likes to be the authority, and so he gives different advice, but they're really great advice. And the advice here was that when you build a system, an AI system, how many people, and he shows even the picture, funny picture, how many people say, okay, now is the time to evaluate, am I good or no? Well, that's too late by then, because it's 2 weeks to work. Build it right now, he says. Start with that. Do a very crude system of evaluating. It's similar to create a JUnit test. Here is this email, and here is that picture. That happy girl runs little tests as she goes, not 2 weeks later. That's one interesting thing, interesting advice. Another thing here, while going through that advice. Another thing is that there is a new course. That course, boy, I almost missed it. It's amazing. So let's go back to the very beginning. Very beginning here is called Learning Path. You can open it because you have that link. You can open it here. And very, very often people who come to this webinar, they say, what should I learn? I don't know enough of AI. They say it's something nice and interesting. What should I do? Well, what you should do is take this first course, Generative AI for Everyone. It's right here. But then what you should do is take another 99 courses. Right now we have what? We have 94, and they don't even overlap. So no two courses really talk about the same thing. If you do, however, so it sounds intimidating at first, but every one of them, every little piece of learning helps. You'll become whatever you want. Is it smarter? Is it more powerful? It is a more paid consultant. You become something. And I have to repeat a joke. When we had a station on the radio, classical music station, which we as Houston don't anymore because nobody listens to radio anymore, I guess. So they often would say that people who listen to classical music are usually smarter, taller, richer than the rest, and more good-looking. Okay, so and then they would tell you don't completely try it at home. It is a little bit of a job. So you will become something better if you go through these courses. And this last one, I haven't even added. Let's go. Let's go to where we are. Okay. And this is the last course that I almost missed. Okay. I think it will be the best to do this. That is a built-in AI browser agents. Okay. So first of all, let's put it here. Browser agent. Okay, and of course you understand, browser is our major tool. Agents and agentic architectures is the major thing today. So I think it's called Vibe was the company, but we really need the link. So the link is right here. Yes. And I will put the link into this table, and it will require one more course. But usually then I put it into our repository and make sure that it works. I'll show you how it works. But this one, let's go back to the course, and I'm showing you how to quickly evaluate the course that I'm looking for. Okay. So here what I will do is this. I'll give you the introduction. I will stop sharing. Then I will share again. Guys, welcome everyone. I'm in the participants panel and in chat. So they say hello, wrong. Okay, it's a good thing to do it, but I will share again. And when I share this time, I share with the sound. Then I will only show you the first 2 minutes. But before I do, I will also show you an important thing. And that is, you see, there are no code examples. That's why that course probably won't even make it to my repository, because I'm only looking for things that are not lectures. Well, however, let's listen to the horse's mouth. They usually do a very good introduction.
Welcome to Building AI browser agents built in partnership with AGI Inc. AI browser or AI web agents can log into websites, fill out forms, click through web pages, or even place an online order for you. Your AI web agent can use both visual information, that is, screenshots, and structural information, such as the HTML or the Document Object Model or DOM representation of a web page to reason and take actions. If you open a page on a website and take a look at the code underlying that web page, you see how large the action space can be for the agents at each step. Since these agents can run long sequences of actions automatically, any error can have unintended consequences like paying for the wrong flight or ordering random products. Or if the agent misreads a single field, say a product name, it can head down the wrong path entirely, and these errors can compound quickly. In this course, you learn about these problems and several approaches to tackle them. I'm delighted to introduce the instructors, Dirgang and...
Okay, good enough. So we see that it is similar to the computer use by Anthropic, but that was quickly followed by ChatGPT, the similar offering, the Google similar offering, I think. So there are similar offerings, and they explain why their approach is more detailed, where you teach it more and more. So I haven't done it completely. What I need to do is close that and leave it for next time. Okay, so building, we still need to go back. I only wanted to mention now because it appeared only yesterday. Okay, so we'll put it here. All right, so that is the new thing. Now let me address the comments that I have here in the chat. Hello from Chad in Carrollton, Texas. Wow, that's not far from Houston, I think. And hello from Dallas. I know that is 3 hours drive. All right, thank you, John, and thank you, C. Patterson. Here we are. We're talking about how to build browser agents. And this is Greg, and he gives much more information. What is it? So very important defenses and AGIs. That's wonderful. So thank you, Greg. And really, I should listen to that. But I also hope that I'm writing a book on exactly that, on securing AI installations and applications. So maybe he will tell me as we are writing the book. And Corey says, I've used 2 so far, but I'm curious what others are saying about the quality of them. So I'll let you guys answer, guys and girls answer here. All right, thank you very much. We continue. Meanwhile, and no, I still didn't do Anthropic and MCP. What I did do is lab that I wanted to show and fix it. So to fix things, you usually create a virtual machine and make sure that it doesn't get destroyed or ruined, but then your fixed version. Talking about browser agents. Well, that's something deep. So if you want to continue with this conversation, then maybe say more or send me an email. Maybe we'll start talking about that. But going back to 27, okay, I will show you the lab that didn't work last time. I'll show you exactly how I do it. So I'm going to this virtual machine. Here you are. And in that virtual machine, let me close that. Let me start from the very beginning. So the first thing that you need to do is clone the lab. It's here. The next thing that you need to do is to go into this lab and there are 2 places that you can clone, so that's later. But let's say you clone the lab is called Building AI Applications, and in this lab you need to go into a specific lab that you want to do, because each lab is treated differently for its requirements. So if you look into how to run for the first time. Okay. Oh, no open. Okay. Maybe G open here. No. Okay, just VI. Okay. So each lab tells you that's what you need to do, but please do it from the lab environment, from the folder. So you create the virtual environment and you install Python or Jupyter, and you also provide the keys. So keys is what I don't publicly give out, but they have to be there. Now, the next thing is how do you run it? You say, well, just show me how to run it every next time. And the answer is very simple. Just source that environment that you created and do Jupyter Lab. Well, all of that I have already done. What you are looking at is after I started the Jupyter Lab. Now you can go to your browser. And I think it will be localhost 8080 probably. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, that's another tab. Google advertises new things. It's amazing. They have to advertise. They didn't have to before. So in this lab, I'm showing you how you would talk to your data. That is not a very new thing, but the lab is excellent. And I'll just show you how nice it is. Now, it uses connection to Azure. It uses the Azure AI. Therefore, all of that is found in the .env, which is hidden for very clear reasons. So first, what you want to do, and let me clean it, restart and clean. Yes. So that's just a demo of the fact that that's kind of hello world. The fact that I can connect to AI, okay? Connecting to my brain, first of all, importing that works because I ran these requirements. Now that works because I load the keys and I provide the keys and I get, you see what I need. You open AI, which version, where is that Azure, because it's not a regular ChatGPT link, but it is their link. But in the end, you get to the keys enabled, and now you can give it any message. So let's see, how do they do that? Hey, so that's the message. You use human message. Where is the human message coming from? Human message is LangChain. Yeah, that's what it is. LangChain is a very popular package that acts as a glue to connect multiple systems. Here you are. Let's see. So what's the message? Translate this sentence from English to French and Spanish. That gives you a chance to read in French and Spanish. And the phrase is, I like red cars and blue houses, but my dog is yellow. So in French, j'aime les voitures rouges et les maisons bleues, mais mon chien est jaune. That's one way. In Spanish, me gustan los coches rojos y las casas azules, pero mi tierra es amarilla. All right, that just proves the point that you can connect, and as a presenter, you can also read. But what I will show you next is how do you talk to your data? That's right here. It's this one. Let me clear that up completely. And I'll point out a few interesting things. So clear all output. And let us start. So again, we start by connecting to the source of intelligence. Now we need the data. So that data is found in this data folder, and it is a CSV, comma separated values data. We read it using Python like this, but then here you are. We read it using Python, but then we convert it into a database. Now that database will be SQLite, and that would work out of the box right away. So here you are converted to SQL. Now we will connect to that through SQL. By the way, it also gave me the number of rows. But what is really interesting is the prompt. Please look at the prompt. That's a very elaborate prompt, and that's nothing compared to today's prompts. Andrew Ng has this term mega prompt. So Google accepts a million tokens to start. But what's important is that you're very specific and polite as to how it should do things. The question will be there. The thought, you should always tell me what you think. Action, tell me what action you take. Action input, and so on and so on. That's an example of the format. And the next one is an example of what I really want to know about. That's why it works. It's a lot of work to formulate this. For example, I think I showed you, but I will show it again with all the extraction work that I do here. And that was under should be I should switch. Oh, I know. To switch, you just go to Sky. So that's the extraction work. I just wanted to give you some examples of prompts. Our prompts are very long, very specific, and we can look at any one of them. For example, prompt placer. That is a prompt that works for documents from a specific county in California. So look first of all at the number. 21. 21 rules how you should talk to AI. And now every prompt is very detailed. You see that. Let's read one. Group-related details. So you're going to process some documents, and they will be represented to you or presented to you as line after line. So if it's police documents, if you see the different lines talking about the same thing, combine it. It will make sense to it. Then keep counting, increment arrest consistently, number them, and so on. These are down to read. What's interesting is that there are so many. Well, that the reason I'm showing you is this talking to AI right here is an example of the same thing. It's very detailed, very long prompt. Yes, AI makes your life easy, but you need to learn it to enjoy the fruit of that. So, okay, now that I advertised it well enough, we can go ahead and ask our question. So, all the ChatGPT, create an agent who will be doing your thinking. And what is an agent? I think that Andrew Ng gave the best declaration. If it acts like an agent and sounds like an agent and does some things, call it an agent, agentic task, that's an agent, because it's not very clear what an agent. So anything that smacks like an agent, call it agentic, and you will be good. So in this case, they are using SQL agent, and they are asking a question that I may ask as a person, as a human. How many patients were hospitalized during October 2020 in New York and nationwide? And it will understand I'm asking one on the background of another as the total of all states. I am also giving a hint. Use a hospitalized increase column. So with that, I'm letting it think. And by the way, tell me your thoughts. Well, that's how it works. It says that's what I'm doing. I'm going into this agent executor chain. I will keep working, but I will keep communicating. I suspect there's another thread running there, and all agents are implemented either as threads or maybe separate processes. I just saw that the creators of Scala language, which is of course Akka and how you scale your systems, they are big about creating agents, but it's also requiring knowledge. So go ahead and learn them. But in any case, it is giving you all the details. And in the end, I think it's done. Let's see, all the time that it's thinking, it shows a star here. It's done thinking. You can go and read the answer. And the answer here is, so the question was how many patients? And the answer was during 2020, no, there was no reported increase. And then it will even ask how could it be? And so that's all. That's what I wanted to show. I want to show you that's the lab. Now, that one which I'm showing is very clean. That's why it works right away. I use that for my classes. But it is also found in the open AI labs that are open. And you can go and find it there. And that's an example of talking to your data, which is becoming very popular. But as you see, talking to your data here requires a different approach for every time. Every time you talk to your data, it will be a different set of rules, different set of prompts, different agents. So generic name, talking to your data is very nice and easy. But in real life, that's one example. I just showed you another example of extraction and so on. The end result, I think it's a good thing to learn. That is what helps. Now, I will pause. I will look at the chat and I see Corey. Okay, that's Corey. Let's go. That's who he is. Okay. And well, I think that's an invitation to connect. So why don't I do this? Yes, works. You can have people connect to you. Okay, but what I will do is I will stop sharing. Stop sharing. And even remove the camera and the sound and encourage everyone to ask questions. So here you are. And the first great question, what is your meetup talk about? So that one, what we're doing right now is a meetup talk, right? And it is about advances in AI. That's advances in AI. That's the official name. Okay, I hope that was your question. And more specifically, I'm talking about what happened this week, what new courses came out, what did I personally work on, because, well, that's a report from the front line. Okay? But I promise that I will shut up like this and encourage you to ask. Thank you very much. Okay, so question is, are you talking about RAG? Yes, RAG is a popular architecture. Okay, and the whole idea, well, all ideas are simple. The whole idea is that you want to ask your documents, probably a large collection of documents, a question. So what you do is you break your documents into paragraphs, usually it's paragraphs, and send every paragraph into a database, not any database, but called a vector database or semantic database or database that they can search by meaning. All right. Now you're doing RAG. You broke your documents into paragraphs. You send them into meaning database. And when the question comes, first you ask your documents, is there anybody who is talking about that subject? It gives you the answer. Then with that background, you send it to AI, whatever AI it is. Now, your next question is which vector DB will it be? Well, I so far use Pinecone because they were first. I think they were everywhere. It's only deployable on the cloud, and they deploy it in a serverless manner, so it's not expensive. If you want a virtual machine, right, retrieval augmented generation right there. But I'm not sure if Postgres has a version. Everybody now tries to have a version of not only database, but also key database and semantic database. But the basic idea is that you need a database that can store and search by meaning. That's one question. And C. Patterson says, great presentation, and thank you very much for that. Okay, and thank you very much to those people who are answering also. I wonder if Postgres is a database. So for that, we'll discuss this question. Is not by itself vector-based, but you can add an extension. That's what I would suspect, that if you are Postgres, then you would want to join everybody in doing a vector database. I hope that answers your question. So back to the, oh, I wasn't sharing, too bad. So that's where I was asking the question. And I didn't even ask it correctly, but it understood that it was a question misspelled. And it says, yes, by itself, Postgres is not, but you can add the right extension and it will be. Going back to chat. You can add, and then Greg adds that you can add Oracle and any other existing database. Wow, you can not only add it if it's there, but you can also add it, says Greg, if it's not there. Okay, wonderful. That's why it's so nice. I treat it as a brainstorm, as a live version of let's exchange what we know. All right, that's great. Thank you so much. I covered everything. Let's go back here. And that was April 18. I wanted to show you how we talk to the new 3.0. I didn't quite show, I showed you only the result. You can go and use this 3.0. It's also advertised as being available with the API. So that was one. Advice on the evals. Ender 8 says, start using JUnit tests to AI early. And I think all of us who are implementing something should rethink, are they doing it? Because honestly, I'm not doing that either. So it should be, how about this? Right here, we said, no, implemented it. That's the advice, and well, at least I usually try to set the plank high and hope that by next week I will be implementing it. All right, let's go back to the chat. And Greg is adding Oracle has a heat wave. That's a great name. Okay. And what is this? MySQL. Ah, that is my vector plugin. Thank you. All right, guys, we were just reviewing that we did all that we promised here, right here, and I showed you that lab in real life, and I showed you my data extraction project, and of course, I'll need to tell you next, we did it work, because I'm working together with AI, and we're going to write code together. I definitely see something that it doesn't. Of course, it has its own big things to go for it. All right. Thank you very, very much for coming. Thank you for adding to the conversation. And I wish you a great weekend and a great year. Thank you, George. Thank you, Shin. Yes, I hope. Thank you, everybody. Okay, George, thank you. And the recording will be available in a certain time, like 2 days, 3 days, something like that. All right, everybody, be well.